Hello everyone, I am Nikhil Kumar. Welcome back to the GitHub Action series. In this video, I will show you how to use conditionals in GitHub Action to control when your workflows run. By the end of this video, you will understand how to use if conditionals in GitHub Action, and I will also show you a real world example like triggering jobs based on a branch names, pull requests or labels. So let's get started. To keep it simple, let's build a workflow that run tests only when a pull request is created for the main branch. So first of all, let's create a one workflow file here. That is GitHub Conditional.yml, and I'm going to give a name of this particular workflow, that is GitHub Conditional Workflow, and it will be running on the pull request event, which will be on the branches, that is our main branch. Next, let's add a job to run the test. So without any conditional, this job will always run whenever the workflow is triggered. So I'm not going to define any conditional here. So I'm going to define a job that is test conditionals, and it will be running on our Ubuntu-latest runner. And let's define the steps. The first step is to check out the code only. Check out code, and I'm using an action that is checkout at v3, and then I'm specifying the step to run the test. So it will be running our echo command running tests. So let's push these changes, and let me create one branch. So that is conditional test 1, and let me push some changes to this branch, and then I will create a PR. So this is a test.py, and let's edit something. So I have pushed the changes here, and I'm now going to create a one PR here, that is a conditional test to main branch. As soon as I create a PR, it triggers that action. So that is our GitHub Conditional.yml. I think there is a typo here that I missed to add a slash. So let's add a slash instead of @. Let's commit the changes, and let's go back here and refresh this page. And if you notice, the workflow name got updated because there was a syntax error in the workflow, and it triggered the workflow as well, that is to run the test, and it will be running on the pull request event. This is fine, but if you don't always want to run tests, for example, but if you only want to run them when a specific label like run test is added to the pull request, let's add a conditional. To add a conditional, we need to use a if keyword. So let's go back to the branch, that is our main branch, and I'm going to modify the same file, that is a GitHub Conditional.yml. So I'm adding a condition here, and to define the conditions, so we need to use a keyword called if, and I'm going to use a keyword called contains. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a condition that checks the label which matches with the string, that is run-test. So I'm going to pull a label from the event, that is our pull request, and looking for labels here on that particular PR, and going to compare the name for this with our run-test, and let's push the changes. So let me correct the typo here as well. So this is the one, and let's create another branch from this one, is conditional the test 2, and let's push some changes to this one as well, that is test 2, and let's raise a PR. And for now I'm not going to add a label of, so test2 to the main branch, and I pushed the changes and created a PR. And let's come back to the action tab for the GitHub conditional workflow. If you notice, the workflow got triggered and it skipped the test, that is run test, because it didn't match the condition, that is the label. The PR should be having a label that is a run hyphen test. So let me create another branch first. So first of all, go to the main branch and create another branch, that is test3 from the brain branch. And this time I'm going to add a label while raising a PR. Test3, and I'm going to create a PR from conditional test3 to main branch, creating a PR and adding a label as well, that is run hyphen test. And as soon as I create a PR, it triggers the workflow, but it run the step, that is the run test step. And if you notice here, it's waiting for another to pick up the job. So if you notice, the run test step got triggered because it matches the condition. This is magical. If condition checks if the run hyphen test label exists on the pull request. If it does, the step or the job will run, otherwise it will skip that. Now let's add a completely new step to handle another practical scenario, skipping the entire workflow if only documentation files like .md files in the doc folder or the readme file are modified. This step will run first, and if it detects a documentation only changes, the workflow will stop there. So let's modify the workflow file. Let's go to the main branch and modify the conditional file. So first we need to define the step to check for the documentation changes. So check for documentation only changes, and I'm going to give a ID, that is to check the docs, and I'm going to add a condition here. If so, basically I'm going to use a git diff to compare the file change between the pull request before and after commit shas. So let's do that. Git diff hyphen name hyphen only, and I'm going to compare the files between the pull request before and after the commits. So let me do that. github.event.before, and I'm going to use a github.sha and looking for grep4 hyphen e and the docs changes, docs and readme.md, parenthesis closed, dollar symbol, and then, and I'm going to create an environment variable here, that is not hyphen docs equal to true, and storing into the GitHub environment. And I'm going to specify the else condition here, and that is not hyphen docs equal to false, and it will be a GitHub environment variable. And similarly, I'm going to modify the condition, that is to run the test. It will look for the environment variable, that is not hyphen docs. It should be true, then only it will trigger this. So I'm going to put end here. So this means if any file outside of docs or readme is modified, it sets the non-doc environment variable to true. The run test step only run if the non-doc is true and the run test label is present. This way we completely skip the running the test if the changes are only related to the documentation. Let's test this out. I will create a pull request that only updates the readme file. So let's commit these changes first. Let's create another branch, that is readme changes, and I'm going to modify our readme file here. I'm adding a testing keyword here, and let's create a PR as well. It will be from readme to the main branch, and let's add a label that is run-tests, so it matches both the condition. And let's create a PR as well. And if you notice, the workflow got triggered, so it's waiting for runner to pick this thing. There's a typo here, I guess. I think I missed to end the if condition here. Let's go back and modify the GitHub conditional. Yeah, I missed to end the if condition. Just like in the shell script, we need to use the fi at the end to stop the conditional. So similarly, we are going to specify the same here. Let's commit the changes and go back. So it will synchronize the PR, and let's see. If you notice, it skipped the step that is run test because it will see the documentation changes over there. And that's it. With a few lines of YAML, you can take full control of when your GitHub actions run. Try this out in your workflow and let me know in the comment. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more upcoming videos on the GitHub Action series. See you in the next video.